Um, yeah, we're recording. Oh, yeah.
Look,
Welcome
hey,
back.
hey,
Guys,
you
welcome
don't get to
back
run
to.
away from the fact that you
Whoa,
could beat a skeleton in a karate fight.
well, I think we're all like that. But
Well,
Mac, we're recording.
Yeah, we're recording right now.
yeah,
Sorry.
it doesn't matter. Don't blow
Mac,
past my argument.
Intro,
I'm just saying.
intro, intro.
intro,
Oh,
intro. Where's
hey
that
guys.
button? Intro button.
All right.
You got
All
so
right, guys.
used to
Welcome
me
back to another
tricking
episode of
you.
Panther Airsoft Folding Table Talk. I'm Mac. That's Poi. There's Tax somewhere down there.
Hey guys,
This is episode. Give me a number.
49.
49.
49. That's an old person's age. Sorry if you took offense to that. I am joking around. I am closer to
Wow.
that than I
I
am
I
to
feel
a
like old is like closer to the later 50s. You kind of like just like.
I just broad brushed a lot of people right there. I'm
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
gonna get beaten up this weekend. Let's not talk about it. Moving on. Okay, guys. So lots of goings on, but basically, we did have or boy, I know I'm stealing a little of your thunder there, but we
That's
did
fine.
have a big update and stuff like that from the Liberal government regarding C-21. So that is why we're here, and we're going to do a brief TLDR on the subject matter of the contents of the bill again, just so everyone understands, and then you can share this around, and we can kind of show or showcase the logical fallacy that is the liberal policies. And yeah, so breaking it down, guys, we do have that. I do have a field report that we did just release, kind of going into the community's feelings of the report and everything like that. So please, guys, check out that video, share, like, and subscribe if you haven't already. And then basically going on at the field right now, guys, the good weather's coming out. It's really great to see all the people out. Please get vaccinated. Guys, we're still fighting COVID, so please keep in mind of our social distancing and COVID guidelines, guys. I know the mask rules going back and forth and stuff like that with the BC government, but they have laid it out pretty clear. So guys, please, again, try your best, wear your masks, get vaccinated if you haven't already, don't be an idiot. And then basically from that, guys, time will tell. Going into that, this coming Saturday, June 5th, we do have a night CQB, so we're hosting that, and ASG's Airsoft Strike Group, our local team, and another retailer with us, an organizing group. They're just a great group of guys. Basically, they're organizing the night games and festivities. So, guys, if you're coming out for that, please check out the event page that they do have there. We'll make sure to link that below in the description. So, yeah, night CQB, guys. There are a few requirements. Flashlight.
COVID
Other than that,
restriction still applies, so.
yes, yeah, and COVID restrictions are still applying to that. Obviously, it's not going away, guys, because it's night. Um, and then, just a heads up too, because there's not much else going on. June 19th, Panther Airsoft will be closed, so that is a Saturday. For anyone that's wondering, we will be opening on the Sunday for regular drop-in play, but we are closed, like fully. There's no airsoft whatsoever on June 19th because of film purposes. So, yeah, spread the word. Thanks. That's field news. Let's move on over to airsoft news.
Soft news. Hey guys, Tack here. First on
With the
airsoft news.
airsoft news. Come on, Tack. You got to put a little more emphasis in it. How are we ever
Okay.
gonna?
All right. All right. So, hey guys, Tack here with the airsoft news. So we're just gonna get right into this here. All right. So, in recent news, we've gotten a response, two responses from the Liberal government to our recent petitions. So you guys will have a link for that in the description of the podcast. But just so that you guys are aware, we did get two responses. One on the 28th, specifically to Panthers petition, and then we had one on the 31st for the large petition that everyone was signing all across
Which
Canada.
is basically the same. They're-
That was the one
Exactly.
pushed by ASIC, correct?
The
yes, yes.
the important factor of it is just the I want
Notoriety.
everyone to take the time to actually take a look and just look at the response, but they're essentially the same response. We had two different petitions, although our petitions are aimed at the same sort of point. They are sort of they are written differently, and obviously you can see that they pretty much gave a general response to that. So I implore you guys again to go ahead and read that for yourselves. Next, on the docket here for Airsoft News, Trigger Airsoft recently restocked on the Wii Galaxy pistol. So for any of you guys who are fans of the AAP1 and didn't get a chance to buy one, we has a option for you. So with that,
Is the Wii alternative?
They look pretty fancy. They look like locks. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, the marketing for it was pretty cool. You know, a lot of fancy stars and whatnot. I obviously would like to see how it functions. I'm sure the AP1 eggs would work with it as well, just because all those platforms are pretty much
Are these
compatible.
C21 compliant?
Base guns?
Who knows? Good question. And with that, next,
Hello,
I'm sure some of you might have seen it. Some of you guys might have known, but again, it is that time of year again. It is the complain about hero outdoor season. I only bring this up because recently in the
Insert.
Facebook
It's
group
a trap.
of
It's a trap.
Okay, well, yeah. So I hate to bring this up, obviously, because I don't want to rag on other places and whatnot. But I do have to bring up the fact that it looks like it's brought up at least on a seasonal factor. A lot of the veterans of the groups and whatnot, and a lot of people who have been around for a really long time, always seem to have either a smack my head or very laughing, chuckle sort of reaction to the situation. It varies, but regardless, one character, in fact, has had enough and is now going to the fact of documenting almost everyone's complaints and showcasing it all in one post and letting everyone know that he is going to pursue legal action against them. Obviously, we have gone over it a couple times in our previous episodes. Like they are being investigated under the BBB,
Yeah,
just for
Better
the
Business
starters.
Bureau. Yeah.
So
I
it's things are brewing. It's that season. I don't really got much hate for them, but the internet disagrees. So
I think they're
shoot
marked
me.
at this point. They're marked now. So
They're yeah, exactly. To the point. I don't even want to get into some of the comments on here, obviously, because like
yeah.
some of them are pretty crazy, and I haven't experienced it, and I don't want to like discount someone else's experience, but like.
Well, okay. So give them the benefit of the doubt. I've heard two different things, right? Again, some people who live there locally and that are able to go to the physical store, they say it's actually a pretty decent experience and such, right? It's the people like ourselves and everything who are not local, have to order things around and out of province or whatever, out of town. And that is where the discrepancy is
Well,
apparently.
I'm not gonna lie. If I can hold you up at knife point and get the item that I want in the store, obviously I'm gonna get it. So, well, obviously the guys who live there are gonna have a better experience than the rest of us because we can't physically do anything about it. Anyways,
Yeah.
guys, enough about
Hey,
Hero
you're the one
Outdoors
with the
and the
thousand bad
ridiculousness that's
reviews.
going on. Well, let's move on to the meat of our topic and get into the rest of the podcast here. So, with that, I'm gonna give it back to Poi.
Yo. It's always good to hear some hero outdoor memes. Honestly, once in a while. Not all the time, but once in a while.
I just feel bad for everyone who falls in that trap.
Well, they do. Anyways, let's get on with the meat of the topic here. So, this episode is going to be dedicated to the Panther Airsoft's paper petition that was submitted by Mark Dalton back in February 28th. And the government, as Tak was saying, they recently responded to ours first and then afterwards to the ASIC petition afterwards. Again, thank you for all the Panther patrons that were there to showcase what Airsoft is all about back in February 28th. Just these are the first politicians that actually came by as concerned citizens to look at what Airsoft was all about, and none of them knew what it was. They didn't know it existed. When the bill was introduced, C21, way before this, they didn't know we existed as a community. We've been in such a gray area. We've been hiding from people very well because we don't want to get in trouble, right? For something that is in the gray area. And now we're in the limelight. Like we're out there in the spotlight, and we had to showcase them what Airsoft is all about. We needed to showcase them, first off, the gun's safe. It's a toy. Next of all, what they're taking away from us, the community, right? That something that we've grown with every weekend coming into the field, and that camaraderie that comes with it, that the friendship that lasts, and friends you find outside of your circle. And the reason why we have the show is because all of us came together and then be like, oh yeah, we could start a show and then make sure that the community gets heard, right? So that was my number one priority for the show anyway, is for the community to know what the news is all about locally. So Mark Dalton came by with 4 other MPs as well. They were all conservatives. I believe we tried to get liberal MPs to show up as well, but none were taken, unfortunately.
Trying
So
to get NDP out and whatnot.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the conservatives were the only ones that came out. Obviously,
showing full support.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was
Kinda
February.
sucks, but-
That was February 28th. If you want to see the photo here, this was the original photo. All of us with Mark Dalton and then the 5 other MPs as well. One of them is the MP for what is it, Langley or Surrey South?
So yeah,
yeah.
I think it
There's
was Carrie Ann Finley.
yeah, Finley. That's her right there. And then we have we have we have Dayton there. We have Laura Elliott there. We have film guys here. Yeah, the whole community was there. Yeah, it was a fun day. Showing them off, and then we even got to as far as going to global news as well. They had a segment on us on Airsoft as well and what they're banning, and it was pretty good coverage, honestly. So that was February 28th. The video here showcases the one that I'm showing you guys here is here, Elliot handing the sorry guys, let's just clickety click the video. So Elliot handing the petition to Mark Dalton on February 28th, and we'll just show a clip of it here.
Panther Airsoft, or Panther Paintball and Airsoft Sports Park, primarily as a means to block Bill C-21 in its current form, as it does not do anything to defer the acts of crime. In fact, all it does is target law-abiding citizens, and members of this community have decided to sign and hand you a petition that can be taken to the House of Commons.
So Elliot handed the petition to Mark Dalton that day, signed by 35 people. I wish we could have had more, actually, because we actually ran out.
We could have had way more.
Yeah, we could have had way more, but their minimum was not minimum. Their requirement was 35 signatures to be presented to the House of Commons, which is pretty low, honestly. If you could get a petition that low, I don't know why the other fields haven't done their part and do that as well. But I heard from sources that it is actually very difficult to get a paper petition out, especially for business as well. Since we're the biggest business out here in the Lower Mainland, Panther was able to get that paper petition, then have all of our patrons sign it, and then send it out to Mark Dalton, who will then present it to the House of Commons. On April 14th, he presented it to the House of Commons, and yeah, from there, it was on the Liberal side at that point to then review it, to then look at it, to then answer to it. And we waited. We waited. Until May 28th. We receive a response back from MP Joel Lightbound, Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness, and the Honorable David Lametti, Ministry of Justice and Attorney General of Canada. And this is what we are going to dissect and review today, because the reason we're here is because we are not happy with the results, or with the responses at all, because of the fact that they're basically doubling down on what they said previously, and they're still targeting airsoft. They haven't made a category for it. They haven't, even though they're saying it's not going to get banned. I mean, long story short, it looks real. It replicates the real gun. It's basically getting banned. And they're saying not banned.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, hello, Elliot.
Hi.
Stream made.
We're recording as well. Oh yeah, we were just talking about you about presenting the paper petition to Mark Dalton and getting that response back on May 28th. Just a tidbit. How do you feel about that response?
Like that petition, giving the petition, or
No.
the response?
The response
official
back
response.
from Joel Lightbound and David Lametti.
Yeah.
I think the Panther Airsoft News Network got my response pretty good there. Yeah. I would like to say that the Liberal government is on crack, and they honestly have no idea how the world works.
Mm. Okay. So
The budgets balance themselves out.
yeah, that's basically it. All right.
They can balance these nuts on their face with that bullshit.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
Okay. There are sometimes children that watch this.
Okay, so we're gonna go to the dissection. You can stay in here if you want. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go over some of the well, actually we're not gonna go over some of it. We're gonna go over all of what they said here, and then we're gonna dissect through it. I'm gonna have my little reader here go through it. Just give me a moment here.
Oh, I honestly thought you were gonna have like someone else walk in and read it for you.
Oh no, I'm actually gonna.
Yeah. Well, we have Susie here.
We have Susie here. You ready? All right.
Is it Pat?
No. Okay, here we go. So, all right. So we're gonna go through Mr. Joel Lightbound's response here. He's the Ministry of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness. So here we go.
Government response tabled. Response by the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness. Signed by Minister or Parliamentary Secretary Joel Lightbound, MP. Whereas Conservative members of Parliament have made many promises to the gun lobby weaken gun control in Canada, our government will continue to listen to law enforcement, survivors of gun violence, and public health experts to keep our communities safe. Replica firearms
While
that
we wait, you guys want to see my tennis court?
Huh? Sorry, we're reading through this. Oh, okay. Let's get interrupted by Elliot. Let's see what you have.
I didn't know you guys were doing anything. It was just quiet on my end, so.
Oh, okay. Let me continue on here.
are indistinguishable from legitimate ones are prohibited because they pose a threat to public safety and can be used to commit criminal offenses. For 20 years, the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, CACP, have called on the government to close the loophole on the sale and importation of indistinguishable replica firearms.
So basically the Canadian Association Chief of Police is calling on the government to close the loophole on sales of importation and indistinguishable replica firearms. So basically stopping import of airsoft guns. Is that what I'm reading?
Okay,
basically, like
here's your problem with that. That's not a loophole. That was an exemption. Like, to say they're closing a loophole, that wasn't put there by accident. That was intentional.
Okay. All right, let's read on here.
Firearms. In their opinion, these can either be mistaken for or converted into deadly weapons and have been used in crimes which compromise the safety of the Canadian public.
Yeah.
Okay, that is so untrue. I need that to just be real. You cannot convert an airsoft gun into a real firearm. If you were somehow able to magically get it, I am guaranteeing the person firing a real round out of an airsoft replica, anything is going to be hurt a lot more than whoever they're trying to shoot at it. Okay, criminal ain't wasting their time. They're going to go get a real gun. They're not going to waste their time trying to convert a freaking airsoft gun. Sorry, continue.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, yeah, go ahead, Elliot.
The only way you can convert an airsoft gun to a real gun is by classification. There's no physical changes.
No.
You can classify it, and there you go. You converted it to one by changing paperwork, but that's all you can do.
Yeah, I mean, if they're using it in crime, then treat it like a real weapon, right?
there's already
you
rules in
don't
place for
dance
that,
around
There are laws
like,
in place.
oh, look, it's only a BB gun. Like, don't shoot me, bro. Like, why?
No, it's
first
like-
of all, why do you have it out in public?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the intent was to be used as a, for
For
a crime,
threats,
in which
for
case
yeah.
it's gonna be,
If you're threatening someone with
treated
it, then treat it as a real weapon. I mean, that's
Yeah.
as simple as that. I mean, we had that debate with Bill 4 when we had that the topic about it, right? I mean, you don't bring it out in public. If you do, your intent is basically, malicious at that point. So, all right, let's continue on here.
Public. In response to Bill C-21, the CAPT statement read that we also agree with implementing initiatives that target target the criminal use and diversion of firearms to the illicit market by prohibiting the importation, exportation, and sale of replica firearms, something the CACP urged the government to do in a resolution passed by our membership back in 2000. The government has heard concerns from municipal police chiefs about these dangers as well, and
What's up?
Oh, I was just like saying, so okay, so this is a 20-year-old opinion.
Yeah,
Yes.
very.
That's what, and sorry, the cap or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So you guys are retired police officers, right? Like you get what I'm saying? So like, can I actually hear from like current active police
Well,
officers?
yeah, you have a valid point. These people that are retired, right? Like laws change, regulations change. Retired people are out of the loop on what the regulations are, what
Yeah.
crimes going on are. They don't get read in on like protected information after that.
Yeah. And especially this next part, which I'll read over it first.
and support for the measures we hope to achieve. The police chief for Winnipeg declared that in 2020 Winnipeg Police Services seized 215 replica guns that were used to commit crimes.
So they're saying 215 replica guns that were used to commit crimes. Maybe Bill C-21's onto something. I mean, we don't really have details on that.
Yeah, they don't get into very specific
yeah,
metrics or break it down. So.
Yeah, what kind of like what were they used for, and how were they seized, and what were their classifications? Were they actually just like airsoft guns, or were just there's no data on this. We need more data on this.
Well, and the big thing too is that there's a people treat it like it's not a big thing, but like the semantics of the words really matter, especially on this factor. And I'm really getting tired of how they're using it in like Parliament and stuff like that, where they'll be in one sentence call it airsoft, and in the same sentence call it paintball, and then in the next sentence call it an air gun, and then in the next sentence call it a pellet gun, right?
Yeah.
Like they need to be consistent, and each of them differ in a sense, and like they need to understand that the ones that we play with, you can harmlessly shoot people with them when you play within a set of rules and wear some protective gear. The other ones will hurt you.
Yeah,
You
and
know what I mean? So
they
that's a
keep
big
coming
problem.
for some reason. The government keeps coming back to this debate where Winnipeg Police Service seized 250 replica guns that were used to commit crimes. They keep coming back to this, but there is no data to it. I mean,
Okay, I have a data point for you. So I just decided to take that number you gave me, 215, divide it, and then the percentage of that in the population of Canada, assuming each crime was done by a different person. That's 0.000006% of the population. Pretty fucking low.
That is low. I mean, can we stack that up with other crimes that are actually major and see what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys can keep going ahead on this. I'll pull up those numbers.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Crimes. Maybe Bill C-21 is onto something. The president of the Saskatchewan Association of Chiefs of Police declared that we do support this legislative package moving forward, acknowledging that in terms of replica firearms, those have been a challenge for quite some time. They look so real now that it's really difficult to distinguish. Over the past 6 months, concerns have also been raised by police in Langford, Kelowna, Canmore, Calgary, Edmonton, Regina, Saskatoon, Moose Jaw, Gatineau, and Ottawa about these firearms. These are not new concerns. In 2019, a Manitoba judge urged new rules governing replica firearms to reduce the risk of fatal shootings involving police and suicides by cop. Already this year, there have been too many cases.
Okay.
So because they haven't come out with a clear, direct answer or reason to why, they always use this whole like aim or rhetoric of like there's no need for this, and there's no they just go with that factor, right? So when you hear something like what they're trying to say is that they're trying to reduce these risks and stuff like that, right? So what is it to say then if someone uses, like, I'm pretty sure if you talk to any police officer, right? Sure, they might be more likely to shoot someone who has something that looks like that they can shoot back at them within a certain distance, because yes, that is considered like, a threat to their life, and they have a right to act on that. But what say you to them having to also keep that? Like, Mac, what was the minimum distance that, like, you told me there's some like certain distance that you need to keep before it's just like it's gonna be too late, right?
21.
If someone 21 feet or something like that. So it's just
Uh,
like, what's that, Elliot?
the 21-foot rule. I think it's 21. I know it's in that area. The idea that the distance between the person
Yeah.
with
And you're
knife.
trying to draw a gun. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Mythbusters.
like my point on that is just like, let's say if someone decides to do suicide by cop with a knife, or let's say someone decides to do suicide cop by cop with a baseball bat, or something else other than airsoft guns. Yeah, airsoft guns are an easy thing to sort of point at and sort of use, but like there are like if people are gonna go and do something like that, they're gonna find a way and means to do it. And so I feel like if this is their actual sort of like hidden argument and motive behind it, it's just like I think they need to give us more reasons, because they're literally taking out an industry in Canada that provides like revenue and stuff like that. And I really think the Liberal government needs to kind of think twice, three times about that, and take a look at the budget that's coming out around the corner, and really think about if they want to cut
They
out revenue.
they need more data on this, honestly, because they're saying
Yeah.
too many cases of fatal shooting. I mean, there could be
I have
anything in too many cases of fatal shooting involving a police.
I have that crime for you, by the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
So crimes in Canada for 2020 that were not traffic incidents were 2.2 million. So that breaks down to 0.0000977% of the crimes were airsoft guns.
That's pretty low.
Okay,
Honestly,
all
we're
right.
not even at the 1
So-
percentile.
So then, in that case, then is there sort like, because then my question with that comes down to resource breakdown, right? Is how much money are they putting into, let's say, like what they're trying to do with this right now versus other crimes that obviously need to be dealt with because of the high just the factor that it occurs more often. You know what I mean? Like obviously that needs to be dealt with a lot more versus like, no offense, the math says it, something like this.
Okay, let's just read through this.
Yeah.
Cases of fatal shootings involving police who believed that a person was brandishing a legitimate firearm. In 2015, the Edmonton Police Service launched a comprehensive public awareness campaign to discourage people from wielding their replicas in public after they reported that imitation guns were involved in approximately 1,598 files. Back in 2009, CBC
No
Marketplace
shit.
ran a segment about the
What?
Wait,
Oh,
they
I'm sorry.
encourage them to follow the law, Mac. I think that's the translation right there.
Wow. Fucking wow. Okay, I'm sorry. Keep rolling.
about the threat posed by replica firearms, which prompted the following response from then Justice Minister Rob Nicholson's office. Because they often look almost exactly like bullet-firing firearms, replicas can be used in crime to intimidate victims and are often mistaken for bullet-firing firearms by law enforcement.
So that what is it? 2009 segment of CBC Marketplace. Let me just pull up the article. I actually pulled it up here for you guys to look at. But it's on the live text box here.
I remember that going on TV.
Yeah.
Back.
So I have this. So this was back in 2009. This was before a lot of education came in. I don't know. What was the airsoft scene back then, Elliot, for 2009? I mean, it's much more different now than it is back then, right?
I lived on the other side of the world in 2009.
Well, I mean,
Well, how was the airsoft
next year
scene over
after
where
that.
you were then?
I mean, when I was moving from the UK to Canada, it was the UCARA thing was first starting up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, from what I remember, back in when I started back in 2010, 2011, it was much more different a scene for airsoft because everything was still in that gray area. Everything was still sort of you do things at the back end. Everything was still paintball. There wasn't a lot of sort of traction for airsoft at that time, but they were slowly coming in unregulated. You could purchase it as a kid. You could basically there wasn't a dedicated store, but you could still buy it somehow. And these were like BB guns and the metal shooting pellet ones, I believe. So this is the this is what they were referencing from. Again, this was back in 2009, and this was actually done in Vancouver, where I believe VPD officers were looking at a bunch of and one dude that's in, I think, a civilian or something. Oh no, he's a detective. They were looking at a bunch of guns, and then they were showcasing them, and then they were saying, is it real or fake? And then they would say if it's real or fake, and then yeah, this is way before Bill 4. This is way before all the stuff we had to deal with airsofters back 8 years ago, 5 years ago. And yeah, so they're using this article as a basis for what they're talking about.
The article confused me a little bit though, because in it they talk about how real guns can be purchased and owned with a special license, right? A PAL or an ALPAR or RPAL.
Yeah.
And then they also get into where real looking airsoft guns aren't legally sold in Canada, but they can be owned without any special license. That was
Again, that's the gray area that they're mentioning, right?
well, it's just like real looking airsoft guns are legally sold in Canada, right? And then the other thing too is that they went through like 3 different kinds, right? They went through a real one, an airsoft gun, and then a BB gun. So it's just like I think not only does like the government also have to recognize airsoft, but we also have to sort of figure out this like the wording that keeps going around with stuff, because like we shoot BBs, but then people hear the word BB gun, but then when you look at a store, the BB gun happens to be the metal one, right? So it's turning into a kerfuffle.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing.
How long have
Define
pushing
assault rifle.
the idea of metal BB is actually a pellet? I've been pushing that narrative for years, and suddenly
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
me too. Exactly. They're
Yeah,
called
that's
pellet
how I.
guns.
That's
Yeah.
what that will. Anytime it's with any metal, I always use the term pellet too. Like it to me doesn't mean any kind of sense. Like I believe the term BB was used because it's a mistranslation. That that happened with like package labeling or whatever it was. I'm pretty sure.
it's to do with ball bearings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it will actually. That's what people assume. Actually, that's what like you would think that's what it is when you associate it with the metal ones. But I'm pretty certain that the term BB just became a thing because it was a mistranslation for something like that.
Okay. All right, let's continue on. So yeah, they're just
Yeah.
mentioning this old article from literally what is it, like 11 years now? No, almost 12 years now. And that's what they're basing it out of. Yeah, I understand that it does look real when you look at it from afar. I get it. But yeah, let's just keep going here.
Hang on before you do,
Enforcement.
Max on mute.
No, he's not.
Oh, Max just really slow with his thing, maybe, or
I see his mouth moving, but no sound.
Can I hear me?
There you go. It's really quiet, but I
It's
can
really
hear you now.
quiet. Yeah. Anyways, we'll continue on here.
Enforcement. The government has also seen the dangers posed by these firearms in British Columbia. Late last year, a teenager was arrested after brandishing a replica firearm at a school. According to Constant Nancy Sadgar, police educated the youth on the dangers of possessing and displaying a replica, especially near a school.
So, displaying a replica or a gun at a public school now, or any of public spaces now, is basically illegal, covered under BC Bill 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can't brandish that close to school. So, yeah, you treat it as it is, as a real weapon, and it's illegal now. And
So if
a crime.
what they're right, like but we have that in BC. They like I can't hear this going, so I'm kind of going on what I assume is being said there. It was already illegal to do that. It was just the crime, like the punishment was not really strict enough. So BC made it stricter to do that.
Yeah.
That's what it really came down to. But it's like if they're pushing the idea of trying to make schools safer by banning them, it's like, well, it was already illegal to do it. Just being like, I banned something so people will stop breaking the law. It's like, That does not work. That has never worked. The war on drugs proved that never worked.
Yep. All right, let's continue on here.
School. Bill C-21 simply proposes to close a gap with respect to replica firearms. The current definition of replica firearm in the Criminal Code, in force since 1998, only applies to low-velocity firearms, approximately 366 feet per second, FPS, or less, such as pellet guns. These low-velocity firearms may not be imported, exported.
What?
Okay, I don't know. Sorry. Can you guys hear me all
Yeah.
good? Okay, sorry, I have my headphones in. So, so like I said, yeah, or like Tack even just brought up before, right? Is that this government and our language is so kerfuffled that there's no wonder that no one can make sense of anything. Pellet gun, air gun, airsoft gun, BB gun, BBs, pellet. It's like, holy crap, man. Because as my understanding, when they say pellet gun, they're meaning the metal break barrels and the Daisy air rifles and stuff
nitrous
like that.
ones,
Ain't no way those things are shooting less than 366. Like, and the BB, the pellet weighs more than a BB ever could. Like, oh my god, that actually causes harm. Like,
that
oh
penetrates
my
skin.
god.
Well, you can get hollow points, the sharp points. Like they have tons of
Yeah.
kinds of pellets for them and stuff like that. So those actually are used to take out vermin, varmints, and stuff like that. So,
Can be.
All right, let's
What?
continue on here.
Exported, transferred, or sold in Canada, with limited exceptions for some businesses that have the necessary authorizations to sell replicas to other businesses, example, in the movie industry.
So, in short, they're basically like they're mentioning here that they're confirmed that like 366 to 500 Express is unregulated, but if it looks like the real steel version of the firearm, then it's basically banned. So right away, like our area of 366 to 500 is basically airsoft, and then if it replicates the real gun, then it's basically like not allowed to be imported, exported, or
Well,
sold.
exactly, and
well,
Dayton
that's
brought
what
that up
they're
in a previous
trying to
video
say.
too about that,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it was like you know, where you could have the real one, and the real one could be legal, but his airsoft version would be illegal, which is so silly.
I got a question for you guys on that one. What if you manufacture an airsoft gun, doesn't look like a real gun, and so the government's like, oh yeah, we love it, doesn't look like a real gun, easily distinguishable, and a real gun company copies your airsoft gun.
Auto rifle.
Wouldn't it be de facto? You would still be then
The
be
thing,
banned.
that kind of law leads it into second a real gun company is like, I don't like your product, I'm gonna make a real gun of it and get you banned. Like you're done.
Yeah.
I think a gun company would have many things to worry about besides banning an airsoft gun with the sole intention and purposes of building one. But okay, I digress. More importantly, their words are vague enough that
Yeah.
Elliot, does your fantasy gun have a pistol grip?
No.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Does it have a stock?
Nope.
Is it
Does
a
it
pistol
carry
brace?
ammo? Does it carry ammo in a magazine?
Debatable actually.
There you go. Looks like a real gun. We're gonna have to ban that.
But I mean, like, there are many guns in Halo that don't do that.
Dude, I'm all for you, okay? I'm on the advocacy for trying to get future guns and stuff like that, and then also keep the real guns, like the M4s, because again,
Right.
yeah,
The gun from Alien, should it be like? Would that fall under it? Because it's not a real gun, but it's made to look like one in movies. So
yeah,
it's assumed to be a real gun because of the movie. But the only gun it exists as is an airsoft gun.
bro. Han Solo's pistol would be like pistol blaster would be gone.
Isn't it just a Luger? Or not a Luger,
It's
a Mauser?
It's- pretty
Yeah.
sure it's a broom.
Yeah, Mauser, right? Or
I believe that's what they retrofitted. Yes, into the movie format. Yeah.
so it's
Unlike
banned.
Times Not
It's the
Awful.
airsoft version's banned now. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry, I jumped the gun on this one. This was them talking about replicas. The next portion is the mid velocity. So let's just hear
Right.
it
So
here.
this is
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is
actually,
what-
let's go through this one because
Yeah, let's just go through this one.
Industry.
whoa.
The definition does not include mid-velocity firearms, such as air guns, that have a velocity of approximately 366 to 500 frames per second. A replica firearm exactly resembles, or with near precision, a regulated firearm, with a velocity that exceeds 500 frames per second. Bill C-21 would address the gap by ensuring that mid-velocity air guns that exactly resemble, or with near precision, a regulated firearm are subject to the same rules as replica firearms. Specifically, Bill C-21 would prohibit the importation, exportation, transfer, and sale of an airgun that exactly resembles, or with near precision, a conventional regulated firearm.
So this is the big debate we were having with our initial C-21 debate is they targeted 366 to 500 FPS, the mid-velocity area.
Yeah.
And then not only did they target that, they mentioned that they will prohibit anything that looks and resembles the real steel version that shoots 500 FPS.
So let's be real here, right? So we all have our view on the interpretation of it, right? But let's look at it from, let's say, like a liberal point, right? Where we're always saying, hey, we want this in law, and hey, we want a definition for it. And then they turn around and be like, well, we did. Here's the definition for it, and it's
And you're
getting
banned.
It's just like,
They're
wait,
not
what?
reasoning with us. They're not. We've
Exactly.
given them a lot of information about this, and
Yeah.
they basically turn around and go, "Yeah, no, we're still banning it."
Yeah.
But
Well-
we're not gonna ban airsoft, guys. We're not.
Yeah, but
Is
because
it-
like what
Well,
what
look,
we
they're
can
just-
see
they're
here
hitting you-
clearly, right? What we can see here clearly is that they went and made the category specifically so that they could ban it, so that they could be like, hey guys, if it falls right in here, yeah, we can ban this. It's just like they're straight up lying to you.
So this is okay. This is the main issue too, right? Is yes, it's the political jargon where they've literally said a paragraph to you, but not answered your question in any way, shape, or form. What they have reiterated here in their response to us is literally doubling down on their push that C-21 was, right? Which is we are going to close the gray area loophole that these unregulated air guns fall in. And because again, yes, you know what? Airsoft guns are replica guns, right? And for replica guns in Canada, they've already been prohibited for a long time, since 1998. Unfortunately, it's kind of really dumb because the federally they're classified as low velocity firearms, whereas provincially we have just classified airsoft guns as low velocity firearms. So now this is where we get into kind of like a provincial and federal kind of like mismatch. And, you know, it becomes even more evident too, where it's like, exactly like they're saying, where they're trying to, you know, close it with a broad brush. We're saying like anything that looks like it and could look like it, or looks like it's attempting to look like it, right? It's banned, right?
It looks scary. Yeah.
Here's my other issue here is they're closing that loophole, right?
Yeah.
But in doing
putting
so,
it in
they
the law.
didn't mention what they're checking that FPS with, right? They closing a loophole of 366 to 500, but they didn't say with the 0.2 gram BB.
No,
Now-
they don't know.
Well,
man. They
I'm
don't
sure if
care.
you look into the like clear citations for it, they'll be all like referring to like the
But they
what's
want
it, the pig
they wanna replace
test or whatever it is.
because the idea is if I put a 7.62 round in my airsoft gun, my FPS is 0.
Oh.
So- I'm not shooting anything.
For just for anyone that's wondering.
Like I don't fall under that loophole being closed because my gun won't do fuck all without a BB.
Then it's just a replica at that point, and it's prohibited because it looks like the
Yeah.
real gun.
And just remember, guys, you can't get your prohibited license. The government does not allow people to get new
They don't
licenses.
issue prohibited license. You have
They're
to
not.
grandfather
They
it.
don't exist. Yeah, they don't exist anymore.
Yeah,
But
I'm
we won't
actually
get rid of airsoft. We just won't let you get a license to play airsoft.
gonna pull up the licensing for it later on when we get to the response from David Lamenti, because he mentions that you could just get a license for it, and I'm like, no, you can't.
No, you
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
But
They keep
we'll get
saying,
a,
like I said, they do this political jargon where they just walk around you and they say a bunch of words, but they don't actually say anything.
So-
Like the House of Commons is full of people talking all day, and they actually aren't saying anything.
They're too used to talking to each other.
No, it's not even that. They're literally just talking for their health.
Yeah. Let me play this portion here. This is the caveat of what Joel Lightbound saying here is here. I'll play it for you guys, and you could hear it loudly.
Firearm. Canadians will continue to be able to safely enjoy airguns should Bill C-21 become law.
Really? We're gonna enjoy airsoft when it becomes
He
law?
He said air guns, so
Air
they're
gun.
they're going all over the place again.
Oh my god. I didn't even realize that was air gun. I thought he meant
Yeah,
airsoft.
you'll be able to shoot in your backyard. Oh
So
wait.
yeah, can't confirm. We're getting banned, guys.
Yeah.
That's thanks. All right, let's continue on here.
Law. As with existing replica firearms, it would not be an offense to possess a replica airgun. Airgun users in Canada could continue to possess and use their existing replica airguns if Bill C-21 becomes law.
So we're getting grandfathered in if we if it gets into law. Okay. So
Yo, those SAHs break, bro. You ain't getting shit.
wait, can we still
That's the
import
thing,
parts though?
grandfathered in with what? What
Grandfather,
are they grandfathering in?
I don't
Like,
know.
In the gun already.
Grandfathering in the gun, the person,
Yeah.
the plane.
The gearbox, you know.
That's
Man.
it. It's a limited edition.
Yeah, just don't break, guys. Just don't break your shells on your gun. That's it. But don't break your lower. Don't break your upper.
Are they going to grandfather in my airsoft license?
Ooh.
Like, hey guys, I got my airsoft pal.
Is there even a license?
Please
Exactly,
no.
right?
Please
Like, what are you
fucking no.
grandfathering in?
Oh my, this
The
is
fact that you
so
have them
vague.
in your basement already.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's continue on here.
They could continue to use them, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they also don't mention that we're getting any buyback programs or anything. We're not
That's
allowed to
not
take it to the
happening. That's not
field.
happening.
It's pretty much
Yeah.
illegal anywhere. So you guys want to play airsoft at my home, like basement? Let's go.
Well,
I
only
would
my
Or in my
you
40-foot
can't bring your
container.
gun.
Let's go.
Practice
It
breaching.
would be a hilarious buyback. I would just throw all my rentals at them and make bank.
Your broken rentals.
Disabled for government
Dangerous.
regulation.
Those guys are dangerous.
Yeah, I
They are a
gotcha.
government. They are a threat to government security. Okay.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's continue on here.
Law. They could continue to acquire new airguns, paintball guns, pellet guns, and BB guns, but not those that exactly resemble, or with near precision, a regulated firearm.
There it is again. We can't. They just double down on it again. It's like, yeah, no, you guys can enjoy your airsoft guns, but you know, you.
But wait, there's more.
But wait. That's all the airsoft guns available we can't use.
99.9. Don't
Uh,
worry, there's 0.01%.
Does the Galaxy Wii count? I mean, it's still a Glock lower, so I guess it doesn't count.
Banned.
Banned?
Banned.
Great. All right, here we go.
Banned.
Firearm. Business owners would still be able to sell airguns that do not exactly resemble, or with near precision, a regulated firearm.
No business owner would get into airsoft because they can't import, what Tokyo Marui sells, which is basically replicas of the real
good
guns.
luck. Good
we
luck.
play
Good
games?
luck, Trigger.
Can we find airsoft guns that like don't replicate real guns? Send them to liberal MPs and be like, "Will this gun be banned?" And just see their responses, like the APS UAR. Hey, will this gun be banned? Yes, because it looks like a real gun. What gun does it look like?
Yeah.
Halo
Just
battle
find-
rifle. I bet none of these guys even know what Halo is.
I think the biggest thing would be to email them and be like, I have an example of something that I would like your consideration on. From your guys' expertise, would you deem this?
Oh yes.
No,
yes.
seriously, literally, because they got to be the experts. They're making the freaking
Yeah, they're
policies
making
on
all the
this, right?
calls. Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Like, and come on, you want to talk about experts? Let's talk about CVC and the freaking expert that they put on there. Like,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
hey,
the
hey,
gun
Max.
expert.
Hey, how's that shoe rack behind you? We'll use him as an expert. Like, goddamn.
Yeah, no business would invest into the sport because it's illegal to own them and import
You're
them
wasting
and
money.
sell them at that point because they're saying that it looks exactly like the real steel version. You're not gonna be it's illegal to have it. You can't sell it.
Yeah.
And then to go back to the point of what Elliot was talking about, no mention of a buyback or anything like that. It's just like, so if businesses can't do anything or do whatever from there on in, what about all the stock that they have now? They're not mentioning a buyback, which means you're not going to compensate the businesses. that have all this, probably tens of thousands of dollars, possibly
Police
even
raid,
more,
police
like,
raid,
yeah.
police
So
raid, and incinerator. That is all.
All right, here's
Thank you.
here's the next portion of it. Let's read through it.
Firearm. The government is confident that manufacturers will respond to these provisions by adjusting designs, and that airgun users will continue to have access to new models with full functionality.
what?
So they're
Look,
they're willing to
comes down
bet
someone
that
moving.
they're willing to bet that manufacturers will respond to these provisions. Again, they didn't put any regulations or anything down on what they want, like
Haven't
what
defined
they haven't
anything for them to
defined anything.
They
How
don't
are
know
they
what
gonna
they're
how are they
talking
gonna
about.
change it? It's gonna take like years to change it,
Yeah.
and people
Okay,
aren't gonna
this-
like
They
it.
don't know what they're talking
I've been
about.
thinking about this one because this one bugs me. That one that the manufacturers will change. So
Yeah.
it's been maybe 20 years since we decided to actually do something about the climate. Massive multi-billion-dollar car companies are only just coming out with electric cars,
Mm-hmm.
and they have the resources to do so. How in the hell is an airsoft company going to do it within the next 20 years?
Especially for such a small industry too.
Right?
Right?
Like if it took Ford 20 years to really figure out electric cars, how are we going to figure out manufacturing changes for such a small industry? We're not. It's just going to be like we're a dead zone in the industry.
Now, yeah, whether they say,
Anything.
like what kind of provisions, adjusting designs, whether, the Glock design is like a few millimeters off in the rear one, does that mean that it's not a replica anymore? Like,
Is it the fact that it shoots a projectile flat out means that it's, not okay? Like what's their aim? What's the core,
yeah,
definition?
nothing is mentioned
They're coming
here.
after my
Yeah.
trades.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
coming after my trades.
Yeah, I'm
They,
sorry, but
like,
they're gonna come after your trays. That's real.
yeah, because the way I feel about it
Yeah.
is, I'm tired of hearing the whole like it's for my public safety and everything like that. It's like I want to hear why. It's like,
It's not.
why is it for my public safety? Give me a clear definition as to how it's gonna save me, how it's gonna stop things, and like, because
Okay.
yeah,
Mm,
it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so in the brass tacks of things too, right? And this is what I'm saying. Like when you watch CPAC and everything like that, you can kind of see the mental face palms that people have, and like you'll yourself have when you hear these politicians talk. Like it sucks because there are younger people like our age and everything like that that are starting to come into the House of Parliament and everything like that. Like the Alberta MP, the lady who was leading the first bit of the charge there against C-21, calling out the Liberals for how dumb their policy.
Shannon
Yes,
Stubbs, yeah.
absolute beast. To love her, so good. Um, so like it sucks because again these people are archaic and they're just playing their same game that they have been for the last exactly like 20-30 years and everything like that. But we're at that point now where things really do need to change, because if like exactly like Tack just said, it's you can't keep telling me that this is for public safety when the numbers clearly do not reflect what you are saying. When airsoft guns make up such a small vicinity or a portion of the crime and everything like that in statistics, right? It's like you can't argue with me that this is a real threat. Let's talk about the ongoing gang violence that's just shot up the lower mainland here in the last month, 2 months, right? That's still ongoing, right? And let's talk about, the drugs that are flowing into the country and everything like that. And like, let's talk about the real issues. Don't talk about a bunch of kids that are,
Keeping
out on the
programs
weekend.
open for kids to be able to, be a part of,
Ooh,
instead of
that's another
having
one
them,
too.
wasting their
Exactly.
time sitting around, being able to be looped up into
And,
these other
okay,
illicit activities and stuff like that,
so
Yeah.
So, Pat, you're on a very good point then. And this is something very much for the audience that is going to be talking to MPs. The wording you need to use is positive social interaction, positive social bonds, right? The idea is these kids are getting non streetwise activities. They're coming off the street, they're doing activities with each other that are safe and they're regulated. And it does take them away from a potential for gang life. So, when you're talking about positive things for airsoft, that's what you want to talk about: positive social interaction.
Yeah,
And that,
exactly.
right, if someone argues like, "Hey, we don't want that," then they're pro gang life.
Well, and people need to remember too that all these gangsters and all that stuff who are at the age that they are now were kids at some point, right? Like maybe they got into it maybe, last year, and an adult getting into it as an adult is what it is. That's their own decision, that's their own path. But for kids, they're easily influenced, easily manipulated, and stuff like that. So it's just like, if some people are doing it at such a young age and whatnot, or getting roped into things like that just because there are certain opportunities that aren't available for them and whatnot, we really need to focus on that kind of stuff, because that seems to be like the root of stuff. You want to get to the root of the problem. You don't want to be like, oh, we have this problem outside and we need to deal with that problem first. It's like, no, like we can clearly see, following data and everything like that, it's like it has to do with, like, the inception.
All right.
Well,
Well,
yeah, and we've seen Mac be a role model for a bunch of kids. Yeah, Mac, I'm gonna shout you out right now. He's been the role model to get kids on a positive approach, where he gets them doing things that, like, he talks about his workout regime and stuff like that. He talks about social bonds, and like he really works with kids. Yeah, Mac, still shouting you out here, man. And so the idea is someone like this, like Mac, is going to be a positive influence to end gang life for young kids. They're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to join a gang. I'm going to go to Airsoft and hang out with my mentor, Mac.
Okay, yeah. So like, to just address that, it's like, dude, I love each and every one of the kids as much as, like, they might annoy me for a second or anything like that. But yeah, like, I'm constantly talking to a lot of these kids outside of Airsoft, and a lot of it comes down to either just, some friendly advice, or just talking to them about what's going on in their lives or anything like that, and just being there, because at the end of the day, like, we've all discussed and everything like that too, just through all of our stories, it's like, it's the real sense of community and camaraderie and everything like that, that it's the sense of belonging that everybody wants. And it's sad because, like, yeah, somebody didn't give the gangsters no love, right? And that's why they're there.
To call them out too, because sometimes some people are just silent and they let things, go on, instead of just flat out calling it out, and being that wake up call for some people who needed the head knock or whatever it is, to realize it's like, wow, I'm actually doing something pretty stupid, or yeah, I'm actually kind of wasting you know you know my time doing this or whatever it is.
okay.
And then before we move on, there's one thing I wanted to address. So the government's got this whole idea of, we'll just adjust for the industry. Remember, the liberal government took 3 years to adjust for the real estate problem in Canada, and it was out of date before they even managed to succeed in adjusting. If the government can't do it in 3 years, how in the hell are we going to do it?
Elliot, the budget will
It'll
balance
take them-
itself.
I was gonna say, how
The
long
real
did it
estate
take
will
them to give us a budget?
Dude, the real estate
Don't
will
even
budget
tell me the
itself.
budget. It's good. The real estate will budget itself. The boomers will die, and the people will sell their houses.
If the bubble gets this big, it has to go down
It has to burst.
eventually,
It has
right?
to burst. It has to
Guys,
burst.
if we print money, then there's no problem. Right? Just keep printing money. We'll just increase inflation to the point that we know that everyone keeps getting paid so much more that it will cover the cost. But we
It
won't
will.
acknowledge we haven't been paid anymore with this inflation increase, and people can barely afford to live. So let's just make it even worse for people and say we're helping.
I'm
Right, Smart.
helping. Literally, Ralph.
Yes.
Yeah, the liberal government.
I
So
will give you 100 Reichsmarks.
basically, what they're saying here is, like, the government, like, hasn't, like, consulted with the airsoft community. No consultation. They haven't sat down with the airsoft community. They haven't said what to regulate, what they want. That's that's all we want to know is what do they want?
I think I know who they sat down with. They sat down with a guy that doesn't call his hits and got banned.
Ooh, that's one salty guy, dude.
Or one of these MPs came out to play, right? Probably that exhibitionist liberal guy. You all know who that guy is. He seems to really, be in the news. Who
really center of attention.
who just had a really bad time at, like, a corporate or company, outing and stuff like that, and he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna get my revenge this way. I'm just gonna ban this.
Wait, who was that guy? I hope it's not Joel. Is it? I hope not. Who was that guy?
No, it's
Oh my
not.
god!
Wait,
If it's him,
Attorney
that'll be
General.
he probably got really salty and then wrote this. I'm a
Dude, he has 2 incidences now. It's not just one.
yeah.
Yeah. Same excuse. Oh, I didn't know it was on.
All
If I
right.
can't trust
Okay,
that guy
there.
with a camera, how can I trust him with government policy?
Yeah. No
Legislation.
Oh,
you don't know
sorry.
how a webcam works.
Yeah, I left.
Oh, sorry. I voted
laptop
yay,
on.
not nay. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
He-
Okay.
He's the
Sorry,
kind
I
of
left my
guy that goes to a grocery store and then tries to use self-checkout and breaks the machine.
Yikes.
Okay, let's
So that last part there, though, really concerns on the end of the paragraph there, where they talk about the government collaborating with stakeholders. Like, what stakeholders?
here. Let's read through what we have here. I'm just
Canadian
gonna-
Association of the Chief of Police. That's
Okay.
who they.
The
That's it.
stakeholders,
This
by
approach
the way,
to the
guys,
control of
are guys
replica
holding
firearms
actual
and air guns
stakes.
is not
That's how
unique
they
to
did-
Canada.
That's how they determined
A number
that
of other
wording, because they
jurisdictions.
couldn't understand what it meant.
Here, let's read through the last
Like
parts here.
doctors against
Yeah.
guns.
Here, let's read through the last part here.
This
Go ahead.
approach to the control of replica firearms and air guns is not unique to Canada. A number of other jurisdictions such as the UK, Australia, Japan, and Germany have taken similar approaches to these devices.
So they're mentioning UK, Australia, Japan, and Germany have taken similar approaches to these devices. I mean, Japan is literally
The inventor of airsoft.
they are the father. They're the grandfather of airsoft.
I'm
They-
quite sure
got-
that
they got-
they have
They're
firearms
still
still
down.
legal in Canada or in Japan, in the rural areas
I
and
mean,
whatnot. Like,
Could we go
Still
back
allowed
to
to
the
have them
UK thing?
in the urban
oh,
areas.
the other UK. Yeah, let's go talk about the UK.
Yeah, the whole idea of the UK took a similar approach. No, actually, it did not. It took exactly what the airsofters are saying. Maybe have it where, you play at a field. You don't need to have this regulation. They're trying to be like, UK did this. No. They allowed airsoft to exist. They tried to make it so crime stop existing, and it worked to a degree. But the idea is, when you actually talk to airsoft retailers, you get answers. Hence why they're referencing UCARA, which stands for UK Airsoft Retailer Association. Like, guys, if you're gonna quote someone like that, maybe actually read what the acronym stands for.
Also, every example that they've given, airsoft is legal in those given examples.
Except-
So,
Except Australia, because that's probably their one case study. But even then, that's like boomer logic, because the younger MPs in the Australian government are also equally like, hey, this is getting weird.
I bet they're getting
Nerf
to the point where
guns,
they're
yeah.
trying to ban Nerf guns there too. So okay,
No,
so
they're
maybe
not
Australia's
banning
not the
them, you have
best
to register them.
example. What?
You just have to register them.
Well, it's essentially banning it because people aren't going to go and
Come
register
on.
something like that, right? Let's be real on that. But yeah, so okay, the Australia's not the best example, but like places like Japan, they can't outright say like give Japan as an example, but then also have like this literal like Japan's the home of replicas.
Yep.
You literally used a replica country, and then are trying
Hey,
to
guys,
ban replicas.
Tokyo Marui is not from Japan. Tokyo isn't a real place according to liberal government.
Yeah,
Call it Edo.
yeah, Ido Marui, right?
All right,
The
and then
name.
Like, to be honest, this kind of logic right now, the liberal government probably thinks Tokyo means some weird word for sushi. Like, they're being so, like, to be honest, ignorant towards, like, Japanese culture, not acknowledging that Tokyo, like, in TM, stands for the actual, like, city of Tokyo.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's definitely, like I said, it definitely seems very lazy. That's how I feel about this response. That's how I feel about the bill, because they're trying to like get all of their talking points that they came up with in election year, 6 years ago and stuff like that. So they're basically like, hey guys, like we're gonna do all this stuff, don't you worry, okay? And then they're coming up now to bless the pandemic for them, right? Because they get to extend their time and run the election cycle just a bit longer. But now it's all like, oh god, hey guys, did we do anything? Like, a lot of these scandals are coming up against us, and a lot of our missed goals and stuff like that about being super woke and helping people and not doing anything actually is coming back to bite them in the butt. So what do they do now? They're going for the gun ban, right? So they did the OIC, and they're coming after us now because they want to just try and appease all the people who are all anti-gun, right?
Just remember, if you ban airsoft guns, you can hide your sexual misconduct.
no.
Like, that kind of logic, though, is like, hey, what did we do? Oh, we allowed rampant sexual misconduct, like, helped by our own party. But if we ban airsoft guns, then no one will acknowledge that and think we actually did something. It's like, nah, guys, you actually have to do something when you're in government to acknowledge you did something.
They thought they could just sweep us under the rug. That's what they thought.
Well, that's why it's all about Bill C-10 right now, right? Like the idea of whole online approach to regulation. Like, sure, some regulation's okay, but again, did not consult with anyone. And then of course they're like, oh no, we don't need to talk to anyone. We know what we're doing. No, when your own party can't figure out technology, we don't want you regulating social media.
Dude, you guys don't get to, like, again, these government entities don't get to be the ones that are like trying to go around telling people how to like live their lives and stuff like that. So
Did we even
But
talk
that's
about
the funny thing.
Australia
Like,
in this
I'm-
list here?
yeah,
It's just
I'm-
banned.
I'm okay with that, right? Like the idea of a degree of regulation on the internet, but it's like I don't trust the Liberal Party to do it. Like it should really be like something like that could be a referendum, to be honest. There's a lot of these that should be like referendums for the actual public. Like the UK leaving the EU, referendum. Funnily enough, the people said what they wanted. Whether or not someone agrees with it, that's how democracy works. But they went so far the other way with an OIC. Like, instead of having a referendum on gun control, they were like, we don't care that you voted for whatever or whoever. We're going to do it without an elected process.
Lovely. Shall we continue?
boy.
Yep. Shall we continue? I guess we will.
I'm a dip, by the way. My food is ready.
Oh, okay.
We'll see you
Thanks
later.
for your input.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay, have fun podcasting.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Let's continue on here. So this is the very last part of Joel's response here. Let's just continue here.
C-21 become law.
Whoops.
At-
There we go.
As with existing replica firearms,
No. Right there.
the government recognizes the need to continue to work collaboratively with all relevant stakeholders to enhance public safety and reduce gun crime by focusing on prevention, effective law enforcement, and strong community partnerships.
So that ends his response. Again, that was Joel Lightbound.
Go right to the next one, boy.
Yep.
To the
So
next
we'll-
guy, so we can
we'll
see
just-
how exactly the
we'll
same
just-
they are.
We'll just jump into the next one here. So this is Honorable David Lamenti, Attorney General of Canada. I think, because I didn't see him as an
Well,
MP.
No. If he's an attorney general, he's the attorney general. He's
Oh,
not
there
an
you go.
MP.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. We'll just start off here.
The government does not
Government
intend to ban
minister.
all air guns. Bill C-21, an act to amend certain acts and to make certain consequential amendments, firearms, proposes to close a gap with respect to replica firearms. Currently, the definition of replica firearm in the Criminal Code, which is any device that is designed or intended to exactly resemble or to resemble with near precision a regulated firearm, only applies to low-velocity guns, approximately 366 feet per second, FPS, or less, such as pellet guns. The bill would ensure that mid-velocity guns, approximately 366 to 500 frames per second, such as air guns, that also exactly resemble or resemble with near precision a regulated firearm, are treated the same legally as replica firearms. All other mid-power guns, including air guns, would not be captured by these amendments.
So same thing. Same thing. They're just saying that we are now classified. What is it? What were they saying? Like replica guns are considered what, low velocity?
Yeah,
Because that's
replicas are
below
low
366 or below, and then the marker 366 by 500 is considered air guns, not.
Yeah.
What were they
Yeah.
mentioning for low velocity, like BB guns or something like that, or? Let's see.
I don't think he
Replica.
mentions.
He didn't even
anything.
mention it. Yeah. So he's saying that. Oh, pellet guns. There we go. So there's pellet guns that is 366 or lower. And then there's air guns that are 366 or 500 FPS.
Not very consistent.
No.
It's people who don't know what they're talking about, man. Giving me a headache.
Yeah. So basically banned because they're saying that it's treated. What is it? Where is it here? I don't think he mentions it yet, but includes air guns. Do not capture by these amendments. Okay.
All mid-powered guns, including air guns. So
I-
what else
what?
is a mid-power gun?
Okay. Okay. Let's continue.
Replica firearms have been prohibited in Canada since 1998 for the purposes of importation, exportation, transfer, or sale. It is not, however, an offense to possess a replica firearm. There are limited exceptions for some businesses that have the necessary authorizations to sell replicas to other businesses, example, in the movie industry. Replica firearms are prohibited for the above purposes because they pose a threat to public safety as they are indistinguishable from regulated firearms and can be used to commit criminal offenses. Similarly, it can be difficult for law enforcement to differentiate between a replica firearm and an actual firearm.
Okay, so they're mentioning about the prohibited license here. Replicas are prohibited above all purpose because they pose a threat to public safety. Okay, yeah. There's a limited exception for some businesses to have the necessary authorization to sell replicas to other businesses, like the movie industry. So they're mentioning, what is it? Prohibited. Replicas are prohibited, and above all purpose, they pose a threat to public safety. Okay, so you're allowed to sell it. So they're saying you need a prohibited license, which doesn't exist. Let's
They
see.
made that up right there. Like, I want people to realize that. Like the movie industry, yes, they do go through the proper channels when they need to use like real steel weapons. They have an armorer on a big production movie.
Okay,
But
so
small indie films and stuff like that, they
So
don't have a freaking
let's go
prohibited
through
license.
the actual firearms classifications here. So we got non-restricted, which we're used to. Like you could take them out into what is it, like Crown Territory, or the range, or yeah, that's what we're used to. And then you go all the way down to, where is it here? Prohibited. This includes handguns less than this length. Firearms are adapted, like basically sawed off, less than this length. Automatic firing or automatic firearms, whether or not alter or discharge one projectile to. Yeah. So these are like super prohibited. Acquiring a prohibited firearm allows you to acquire prohibited firearms only in the same categories as ones currently registered to, and only if the firearms you wish to acquire are registered in Canada prior to a specific date set out by the Firearms Act. So you have to be grandfathered in. Yeah. There is no process of getting this.
Hold
Like
on, go down to the middle of that there. So right there it says you can process a prohibited firearm if one has registered it in your name and continuously hold a valid registration certificate for that type. So that means that the federal government, the Liberal government, is willing to write. Oh, we know for a fact there's at least 35,000 airsofters because of the petition, right? Who were actively participating in voicing their opinion. There's probably, a couple thousand more, right? So that means they're going to come out with, at least 40, 50,000 of these certificates to say that are every single one of, because think about it, each person's probably going to have an average of 4 airsoft
Well,
guns, right?
I was gonna say, is it per person or is it per gun?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just ugly all around, man.
Yeah.
No matter what.
I think they're just trying to grab as much info as possible, put it into words, and then be like, okay, they can deal with this.
I think they have any info. I think that's what it is. This is all copy paste stuff. They're using pellet gun, airsoft, mid velocity, low velocity.
Oh, hold on.
Like, they don't.
Was there any airsoft guns that were
They
made in
call
1949?
5.56 a high velocity round, okay, or 223. Like, come on.
Wait, we gotta find an airsoft gun that's from 1946. Let's go. Oh my.
M1A1. Let's go.
Can you adapt it to shoot a BB?
There's a Thompson.
Okay.
There's
Um,
already airsoft guns.
Yeah, fun. All right, here we go. Let's continue on here. He's got a much more shorter response than Joel.
Okay, just read it through then.
Mid-velocity airguns that also exactly resemble, or with near precision, a regulated firearm pose the same public safety risk as replica firearms. Despite this, currently these devices can be easily acquired, and no license or background checks are required. Bill C-21 would ensure that they could no longer be imported into or sold in Canada.
There you go again. They can no longer be imported or sold in Canada if they look like real firearms. I mean,
So their purpose of creating mid-velocity was so that they could say that they could be banned.
yeah.
But I'm translating that.
Okay, here we go. Let's continue on here.
Law enforcement stakeholders, such as the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, have called for the government to address the gap in the law with respect to replica firearms since 2000 and have expressed public support for the proposed amendment.
Since 2000. Okay. Cool. So they're all retired. They're all thinking about stuff 20 years ago. And yeah. Okay. Let's keep going here. That's the Canadian Association of Chief of Police. So that's who they're getting their recommendations from, right?
Should Bill
And
C-21
doctors
come into
against
force,
guns.
business
Yes.
owners would still be able to sell mid-velocity firearms, such as air guns, that do not exactly resemble, or with near precision, a regulated firearm.
So they're still backing up saying, hey, you could still sell airsoft guns,
0.01% of it.
but you can't have these realistic ones. Okay.
Yeah.
Why would I get into this business to begin with? Do you have a buyback program to get rid of my inventory? You know, we were just talking about it. All right, here we go. And then he's going to talk about manufacturers now.
Manufacturers of affected airguns may alter their appearance to ensure that they no longer exactly, or with near precision, resemble a regulated firearm.
How are we going to... What? Give us something. What? Sit down with us and how do you want us to change it?
I'm so tired of it already. It's giving me such a bad headache.
I know. It's just
They're
repeating.
doubling down on the fact that they don't want it to look like a gun, period.
Yeah.
In which case, they're inferring without directly pretending to say we're not outright banning it. You just have to come up with a better innovative idea on how to
Well, that's
do
like
it,
the
which is literally trolling us. They're like politically trolling us here.
What's
Well,
next?
I know. That's what I mean.
Nerf guns are
Like,
next?
that's what they say. Yeah, well, I know. So that's what the political game they played with the OIC, right? You guys know that. Like, they didn't ban ARs. They just put regulations on the importation of the lowers, the uppers, and the use of anything that was an AR variant. So they didn't ban. They didn't ban anything, but put regulations on it.
Yeah, which basically makes it non-existent.
It's prohibited now. Yeah.
Yeah. So are
Fucking
you telling me you didn't ban it? No, we didn't ban it.
We didn't ban it. You're still allowed to play with your laser tag guns.
Jeez. All right, and then of course they're gonna mention that we're still allowed to use it in this statement here.
Airgun users in Canada could continue to possess and use their existing replica airguns. They could continue to acquire new airguns, paintball guns, pellet guns, and BB guns, but not those that exactly resemble, or with near precision, a regulated firearm.
There it is again.
They put it all together right there, that kerfuffle of a sentence,
Yeah.
because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, right? They don't know the difference between a paintball marker, an air gun, a fucking BB gun, a pellet gun. It's all the same to them. And like, this is all purely based on the look of the gun. You
Yeah.
could again put a freaking Mauser hunting rifle or some shit like in front of a person, and they'll be like, "That's
Okay.
okay." But the second you put a freaking AR in front of somebody, they're like, "Ooh, that looks military."
Here's the kicker to it. So if you do Control F on this detail, right, you can see what we demanded: airsoft, right? And you scroll down, there's no mention of airsoft in their responses.
They didn't reply with our term.
Yeah,
For
so they
airsoft
did not
whatsoever.
reply with that term, knowing that you would get something like this. If you go here and you look up in the publication search of the Parliament of Canada, the House of Commons, you can everything's meta tagged, right? So you could search up every MP, every comment, every bit of like they type everything up. They transcript everything. You could see all the people that commented airsoft, NDP, conservative, block, conservative, NDP. Oh, Jack Harris, he's pretty good. He's backed airsoft so many times. You got block again. You got one liberal.
What's the one liberal say?
Madam Speaker. What did she say here? Hold on. Member was talking about airsoft industry. I want to make it clear that legislature would not put it out of business. So they're basically, again, doubling down, saying they're not going to put it out of business, but we're going to put all these regulations here that will make it so that you don't exist anymore.
So my answer to them is, who are they to say that it wouldn't put the business out of business?
Yeah.
They're not the one in the business.
I'm actually going to link.
You don't even know anything about the freaking.
I'm gonna link this search because it'll be useful for people looking to see which MPs, which MPs actually responded with airsoft, right? And then with this petition, they did like I said, you scroll up. There's no highlights of yellow, right? They never mentioned airsoft in their remarks.
Or compare the ones who answer back talking about pellet
so
guns,
they're making it so that
or...
it doesn't pull up on the search at all, right? They're not mentioning airsoft, and that's really sad because here we are. These are what's in the petition, right? Reject Bill C-21. Targeting airsoft and paintball activities. Fully legalize airsoft and paintball in law. That's all we want. But yet you scroll down, nothing.
Look, if we want a referendum, let's spark it, okay?
Yeah.
Replica guns. Let's get rid of this ban here. They shouldn't be prohibited.
So yeah, that really, like, when I was reading through this the entire time, I read through this so many times when it got released. I was trying to figure out if they had airsoft in it, and then I just did the Control F, search for it, and nothing. They did not mention. They mentioned air guns, but so in conclusion, guys, it's basically the liberal, doubling down and saying that it's not banned. It's not banned. We're gonna put regulations on it, which basically makes it harder for us to use these things, and basically outright just basically ban it with a bunch of blanket stuff, right?
Bans you. Yeah, you're banned.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, you're free to go, but you're shackled in all 4 limbs.
Oh wow, you can't run? You're banned.
Yeah. They keep saying it's not banned, but from the wording that they put down,
give me 10 minutes with an MP where I can call them out on their bullshit, okay? And they can give me their little political response, and I'll just be like, no. I would like you to answer like the one. Like, have you guys ever seen that Pierre Poilievre guy just go off at the Liberals? Like, oh my God, so good.
Yeah.
So good. Like, he's not the best either, because again, to each their own, right? But
yeah. And again,
just, when you hold people accountable, that's the main thing.
And the statistics that they're showing are basically dated. It's the new ones are basically like 250 replica guns were used to commit crimes. Give me some more statistics on that.
What crimes? What crimes? I want to know.
How were those crimes treated? And
were they robbing a place with an airsoft gun? If so, then treat it like a real weapon.
Or did you arrest someone in their house, find an airsoft gun in the closet, and then take that in, and now that becomes part of the gun statistic, because that's actually how it works. That's fucking stupid.
Well, also, and think about this too, right? Back in 2009 with the CBC article that they did, right?
Yep.
The store owner, Pat Johnson, didn't know that the gun was pointed at her head was fake when the robber walked into her antique shop, right? What does that matter? If a person came in with a real gun, it would be regardless of the difference. The fact that it wasn't real is testament to the fact that your life is going to be, you're going to have your life still on that factor. Because if it wasn't, you'd be dead, or there's an even greater likelihood of you dying. So when I read this article about that and how they thought, went through it and stuff like that, it's just like, it doesn't make sense, because then What do you want? You want more reassurance that the person in front of you is having a real gun, so you'll just shoot them on sight instead? Like I don't know the thought process on
Well,
that.
I thought we wanted to avoid that for the police. Like, they really don't want to be shooting people because of their fragile mental makeup and everything like that. It's not like it's a hard job. Like, I commend all the people that are out there serving on the front lines as a police officer. It's not an easy job. I cannot imagine having to do that every day. And then I doubt any single one of them wake up and choose violence. Like, they're there to protect and serve. No one's going in there to end a life. But again, when you threaten the
Something that they
lives of
agree
others,
to.
yeah, when you threaten the lives of others, and it doesn't matter if you have an airsoft gun, okay, they don't know, and you are a threat, you need to be put down. That's just the way that society has been. That is the way it is. And it should
Yeah.
stay that way. Stupid don't fix stupid.
Yeah, it's just infuriating just reading through this response because it's not what we're looking for. They dodged everything that we mentioned in our
Lazy.
petition.
Lazy.
Yeah.
But again, you know what? Okay, I will add on to this too, because I was talking to a few people at the field about this and stuff. And the one opinion that I did, guys, make sure you guys check out the field report too, okay? Because some people had some really good responses
those
in
are
there.
some really good
And
responses too.
yeah, Rod really impressed me with his response too, where he was actually happy about the response, just because it really, really showed kind of like, again, the logical fallacy that is the Liberal government right now with what they are putting in, because literally they're saying one thing, doing another thing, and saying it's for something else when it's like, dude, what? Like, and again, hopefully we can share this outlook, and then, like, I get it, it's a bunch of us kids crying over our toy guns being taken away, but again, this affects so many more people than just nerds that play dress up on the weekend. This affects the movie industry. This affects small time movie industry guys. This affects hundreds of businesses across the country and everything
Panther
like that.
itself, yeah.
Hundreds of businesses, exactly. And yeah, it's there's just no thought whatsoever behind it.
So the current state right now, just so that we could get this clear, is right now, as of what is it, early June, airsoft's not banned yet. Not yet. Bill C-21 is not law. They haven't gone through the second reading. Well, they are at second reading so that they could pass it, so that they could pass it to the SECU. There's already a lot of negative feedbacks from the SECU about this bill, but more than likely, I believe by the time this video releases, there's a statement for Bill C-21 on Friday. We won't be able to know because it is Thursday today. And with elections, they have it set for 2023 or something like that. But from rumors, they're saying that it might happen earlier, depending on vaccine and how fast they get vaccine out, and then how fast they could get like campaigning, right? So I have a feeling that this might get pushed through the summer break, and then it'll come back up in October when they come back, or not October, like September, October when they come back into session. So that's the current state right now of the bill. So we'll still enjoy our summer. We're still not banned, so we're good. We're good. We're good, guys. We're good. Don't panic. We should have just said this at the very beginning. In fact, I'll cut and paste this. No, I'm too lazy. I won't cut and paste. But yeah, we're still not banned. We're good. So here's the part that we need your help, right? What can we do, right? So obviously, when we did this paper petition, we had a huge response from people, and as well as talking to the Conservative Party members that were there at the field, expressing our opinions about this bill, right? Keep messaging your local member of parliament if you are in contact with them. If not, right, we've provided you fuel, ammunition, and fuel. No, don't mention ammunition, but we provided you with information. We've armed you with. God, it's getting worse. I'm sorry. We've provided you information. Yeah, we provided you information on the breakdown of this response. And again, this response is similar to the 3201, which is the bigger petition from Martin. It's the same response, and use the information that we provided you here to voice out your concerns to your local member of parliament, because you, as a representative of your location, and them as a representative of you, they need to listen to you, and they have been listening, and they have to react to this, and that's why they sent this response, because we sent a petition to them asking them, what these are like a petition giving them not demands but like recommendations on like fully legalizing airsoft and paintball in law, right? They're basically dodging that. So we need you to just keep hammering them, right, with the information we provided you. If it is a liberal MP, it's gonna be very difficult because I can't even get through my MP. Honestly, I've mailed them a bunch of times, almost every 2 weeks. I would mail them nothing, just an automated email. That's it, right? So if it's liberal, try your best, be as polite as possible. Provide, the information we provided here is great. Make sure you give them as much of your word, as you can. And if you have an NDP, a bloc, or conservative location, then also let them know. Thank you for the support, right? Because they've supported us throughout. Although, NDP is wanting a lot more regulations. They're almost similar to liberals, but they're at least backing us.
Willing to listen.
Yeah, they're willing to listen. Jack Harris has been great in these topics because he would
East
just
Coast guy, right?
yeah he would
he's a great guy.
Yeah, he would just voice the concerns of airsoft businesses as well as the people that are worried about this. So, yeah, like, that's what you can do. The next thing you can do is educate people around you, right? You've gone ahead and educated yourself in this topic because you're curious to see where it's at, where we're at, what's going on, what's happening. Get the little bit of tidbit information, but educate yourself, or educate people. You educated yourself, now educate people around you. Let them know why this is a concern to you. Let them know why this is a topic that is concerning to you. Let them know what airsoft is all about. In fact, try and get them out of the field to let them see what airsoft is all about. We're not just a bunch of crazy, gun-wielding maniacs out of the field. We're not. We're a community, and I love this community, and for us,
the best way to describe it is that airsoft is the perfect melting pot, and then coming from a Canadian base too. Again, where multiculturalism is one of our strongest points in the country. Okay, airsoft is a place where you have people from different multitudes of life in all wakes and models and just everything like that. It's basically you have so many different kinds of people out there, and they all there for the same fundamental thing, to have a good time. And
the diversity is real for sure, and you can see it every weekend. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's just, and this is what they're taking away from us, and they're telling us that, oh no, we're not taking away your airsoft. I don't think they even know the word airsoft to begin with. They don't even know that it includes a community. Yeah, they didn't even include. They did not realize that they're going to take away an entire community out of this. So
I think they're starting to hear it, but again, they don't know what they are doing.
Yeah.
So that's the main point, right?
Now it is up to us, the voters, the people who voted them in, the people who are concerned, to voice our concerns to them. Their job is to listen to us, and if they're not doing that, then guess what?
We have to make their job harder.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
We're you take your votes elsewhere. I mean, I'm not forcing you to vote anyone else, right? But you make that decision for yourself. If this is a big concern for you, then
Well, and exactly on that too, and that's what I want to get across to a lot of people too, where I've had a lot of conversations with people where they're all like, "Well, I'm not going to change my viewpoint on this over just one point." Well, what that's not what I'm telling people to do at all, because that's not what I would tell people to do whatsoever in the first place anyway. But what I am telling people to do is to listen to what they are saying and to actually like take a look at it from a pretty logical perspective and try and tell me that you don't see holes. Like try and pour some water in that pot and tell me you don't see a leak happening somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
And then make the decision for yourself based off of that information. Because I'll tell you right now, if they're gonna, you know, go through and use this much BS on this topic, I'm sure they do the same thing on many others. And I'm not saying that politics isn't, you know, a mix of that and you gotta read through the BS and whatnot, but it's pretty silly to see the extent of what they're going to do with something like this, that it's kind of telling that they're probably going to do this with other things.
Do.
All right. Well, hopefully, I don't know if you guys want to add anything else to this, but I think we've
That's
pretty much
it.
No,
man.
we pretty much
exactly.
dragged on a 5-minute.
My headache hurts a lot.
We dragged on a 5-minute sort of read on their responses to literally an hour and a half.
I apologize to everyone who
Sorry,
had
Rod.
to deal
I
with
know we
that.
said no more deep dives, but
But this is an absolute headache, I can tell you that for us,
Yeah.
because now we're basically trying to figure out what they're trying to say in the words that they've explained to us, and then basically nothing's changed. They're still going with the same thing. They're just rewording things.
This feels as bad as C10, and
this
don't
is better
worry,
than-
we're
Oh
not
God!
attacking
Don't get me
individuals,
started
we're
with that.
attacking
I'm already
websites.
getting a headache from reading
Yeah,
that.
stop. I really didn't like that Elliot brought that in because that's a whole nother headache, and I think that is why I have a headache.
And for us, for C10, for us, not to make it long-winded, but media is what we deal with, and basically, that's putting us in the line as well. Should we do a C10 conversation? No.
Boy, leave that for at
I
least
don't
a
know.
couple minutes.
I don't know. They
I'll
might be
leave that
"Ooh,
to
they're
Dayton."
talking about C10, or "Ooh, they're talking about airsoft." Delete.
China. China.
Oh, airsoft. That's not Canadian content. We banned that.
China.
Oh my gosh. All right. I guess we'll just wind this up here. Heck yeah. So pretty good. Again, use whatever you learn here. Let people know what you feel about this bill. Let your MP know how you feel, and educate others around you, and support local businesses, guys. Come visit Panther. We're still out here, even though it's COVID. We have a pretty good track record for our COVID guidelines. So come on over and bring your friends. Show them what airsoft is all about. And yeah, we're gonna survive this, guys. We're gonna fight through this. I won't stop fighting through this because it is my passion. Literally airsoft. My sting.
Yeah, this is what we
Literally
do,
have nothing else.
right? And this is what we
Wait,
love.
Matt, you don't have
So-
any other hobbies? I feel sorry. Come
so-
play photography with me.
I have gaming.
Why
I don't
do you-
know.
Why
Matt's
do you think
got
I was
hiking or
asking you?
something.
We're getting trapped.
Yeah, but
Wait,
hey
what did
guys,
you say, Pat? What?
I just said we have gaming and you have hiking. So
I mean, I game too. Anyways, let's not keep
Anyways,
going
guys,
here.
let's not
Someone
drag
close it off.
the
Someone close it
cat.
off.
Okay, that's
this is-
episode 49. Panther Airsoft Folding Table Talk. Stop talking. Goodbye.
See you guys. Say bye, Tack.